Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining Education USA Thursday lectures. I hope you have a great Thursday. My name is Katerina Alexandruk. I am the outreach coordinator for Education USA network in Ukraine, and I'm happy to see you all today. And today we will see how athletics and academic life can go hand in hand. And if you are a student athletic, or maybe you are professional athletic and you want to study in the United States and looking for opportunities to fund your studies, you absolutely should consider athletic scholarships as one of the resources for funding to cover your tuition and your living costs. And I'm very pleased to introduce our speaker today, Shawn Slon, the Recruitment Manager for Europe, Middle East, and Africa at St. John's University. And Shawn will share interesting information about athletic scholarship, about the recruitment process, and many other different things to consider if you are looking into serious application plans in your life and you want to proceed with education in the United States. Shawn, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And before I give the floor to Shawn, I just want to remind everybody that you're welcome to leave your questions. It's a nice and I think unique opportunity to ask you a specific question if you were looking for some information and it wouldn't, well, yeah, you will not be able to find something on the internet maybe or on the university website. So I think Shawn will be a great resource of for you today. And please leave your questions, and we at the end of the presentation we will address all the questions that we have from the audience. Shawn, you're welcome to basically start telling us great news about the athletic scholarships we have.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Katerina. I appreciate this lovely introduction and the opportunity to be here today with students from Ukraine. It's a real pleasure for me. As Katerina mentioned, I am a recruitment manager for St. John's University. St. John's University is based in New York City. We are a big sports school. And so I'm happy to tell you all about opportunities for athletic scholarships in the United States in general. So at all of the universities, and then at the end of the presentation, I'll talk more specifically about St. John's. So with that, I'll start my presentation. Again, today's presentation is about collegiate athletics in the United States. We're going to focus in on athletic scholarships. So first, let me just introduce you to the athletic leagues in the United States at the college or university level. We often use the two words college and university interchangeably in the United States. So towards the bottom of this list, and most of my presentation will be about the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association. That is the main or the largest sports league in university sports in the United States. But we also have these other leagues as well, which I'll just mention here on the first slide. So there is the NAIA, which is the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. This is primarily for smaller schools, schools with smaller student bodies. There's also less schools involved. It is a lower level of competition, but still quite competitive. And there are athletic scholarships available, though most often these are small or partial scholarships. Next, we have the Njcaa, which is the National Junior College Athletic Association. This is only for two-year colleges or community colleges. And they also provide athletic scholarships, mostly partial, sometimes full scholarships there. But again, this is only for 2 year colleges in the United States. Finally, and the majority of the presentation will be speaking about this, the NCAA, the main, most competitive league in the United States at the college level. It is broken down into 3 divisions. Division 1 is the most competitive, so the highest level of sport, the hardest to get into. But then there's also Division 2 and Division 3. So for athletes who are at a very high level, but maybe cannot quite make it on a Division 1 team, you can look into schools with Division 2 and Division 3 NCAA sports teams. I would mention here that only Divisions 1 and 2 provide athletic scholarships. And just an overview of the NCAA, they all offer competitive schedules against other 4-year colleges and universities within the United States. There's about 1,100 schools involved and about 500,000 student athletes. Next slide, please. I am switching the slides, my mistake. Sorry about that. Okay. Now I'm acquainted. Okay, so I think it's very important to first talk about admission to college and university in general. So it's important to note that each institution has its own standards in terms of admission requirements, scholarships, and really everything. So it's very difficult for me to give you just a general overview of here is the admission process. And unfortunately, what I have to say is that you must just look into each school's website for information. You're always encouraged to contact the admissions office. You can contact admission counselors such as myself and and find more information. There's a common app, a common application, which you can use to apply for multiple schools at the same time. But still, you should be in touch with the school and looking at their website for detailed information. So due to COVID right now, many schools are not requiring SAT or ACT exams. And it is currently also not required for eligibility for student athletes. So typically, to play at the NCAA level, you would need to have SAT or ACT done before your application to university. Currently, we can waive that requirement. However, most schools do have an English proficiency standard to meet, and so you will be asked to submit TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo scores at most universities. So this last point is quite important, which is that many schools offer academic aid in the form of merit-based scholarships to students with strong academic profiles. In other words, if you have strong high school grades, we will offer you a partial scholarship to attend the university. And many coaches like to see that you've received at least partial scholarship from academics. Then the coach can combine that academic aid with the athletic scholarship that they'll be giving you. Okay, these are the academic requirements for the current school year. They should probably be the same for the next school year. You can look on the NCAA Eligibility Center's website, which all interested student athletes should go to and create an account on that website. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Essentially, you must have taken 16 courses in these specific areas, and you must maintain, this is all through high school, so before you're applying to college, you must maintain a minimum GPA of 2.3. I can, after the conversation today, when we're having the question and answer, I can give you a better sense of how the local grading system would be converted into our 4.0 GPA scale in the United States to have a better idea of what that 2.3 means if you have questions. So please ask me after the presentation if you have questions about converting your local GPA. And as I mentioned, test scores are not required for the current year and most likely will not be for the upcoming year as well. I do know that at St. John's University, we are not requiring them for the upcoming year. Okay, so I think it's helpful for you all that I go through a quick timeline of what I would be doing if I were in your shoes. So this is a high school timeline starting from what I'm going to call grade 9. So grade 9 in the United States would be your first year of 4 years of high school. So at the start of secondary school or the start of high school, you want to go on the NCAA Eligibility Center website and make sure that you're familiar with their guide to the academic standards for athletic eligibility. So there are the course requirements and grade requirements that I just mentioned. There's also an amateurism requirement. We can talk about that later if you have questions. They outline all of the fine points of what qualifies a student athlete to obtain an amateurism, proof of amateurism before high school graduation, which is needed to play at the NCAA level. So in 9th grade, you are familiarizing yourself with all the requirements of the Eligibility Center. And then you're doing your research on universities and schools, exploring both academics and sports. So make sure you're looking for a school where you can find the right fit in terms of what you want to study and what you want to play. And then, you know, in this year, you still have plenty of years to go. You're asking your coaches, your high school coaches, and your other contacts and resources, what level of sport in the United States they think you would be able to play and thrive at. For some sports like track and field, you can do an easy Google search and get a nice idea of, you know, if you would be at the Division I or Division II level of NCAA based purely on your track times. For other sports, it's a lot more difficult to say. What I can say, though, is that NCAA Division I athletics are extremely competitive. To play Division I, you pretty much you need to be playing at an extremely high level in high school. Most likely not just for your high school team. Most students who get to play at that level are playing high school. They're playing for you know, a traveling team, a team that competes at the national level, maybe traveling to other countries as well. Feel free to ask me more questions about that at the end. In the next year, and also I want to say, while I'm going through this timeline, this is just my recommendation. It's okay if you're already in your last year of high school or your second to last year, and you haven't registered with the NCAA Eligibility Center yet, which I'm saying you should do in your second year of high school. That's okay. It's never too late. So, but this is just the suggested timeline. So again, in your second year of high school, you are creating an account. You're registering on the Eligibility Center's website. That will have a cost to it. It is $150. This is something that you absolutely must do if you want to be considered for NCAA level sports. In your third year of high school, that's when you're really sort of starting to finalize things. You want to double check that you make sure you're meeting the academic standards and that you are maintaining that 2.3 GPA and have taken the appropriate courses. If you do take one of the exams, the ACT or SAT, be sure to send that score to the Eligibility Center through the website. At the end of this school year, so your second to last year, You want to have your official education documents sent to the Eligibility Center. So all your transcripts for the 3 completed years with 1 remaining year still left in both the native language and with an official English translation. Also, make sure that your sports participation and information in this account is up to date and correct. In the final year of high school, by April 1st, you're requesting your final amateurism in your Eligibility Center account. Again, making sure that all your sport participation is up to date. Then at the end of that last school year, you need to have your official transcripts from that last year sent to the Eligibility Center, again, in the native language and the translations. Okay, I mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation, but it's quite important just to say that academics and athletic eligibility really go hand in hand. They go together. So first, it's just that, as I made clear, there are academic standards that are required to even be eligible. So that's the first point. But you'll also need to meet these academic standards in order to be considered for athletic scholarships. Obviously, good grades in high school will help you get into college and university, and they will. And the last point here, that these good grades in high school often help you to earn an academic-related, or what we call merit-based scholarship. With that merit-based scholarship, again, the coach has an easier time getting your scholarship up to where you would need it to be. In other words, the scholarship can be split between academics and sports. Coaches like to see that you've been admitted and that you've been offered a partial scholarship from the admissions counselor who's reviewed your academics before the coach, gets into detail about your scholarship. That said, you should be in touch with the coaches before you've been admitted. So start contacting them before, but they will like to know once you've been admitted. So that's a perfect transition into this next point, which is ways to market yourself to college coaches. So how do you make yourself known? This is not easy, but it can be done. So here's my advice to you. Create an athletic resume. Make a highlight video. But don't make a super amateur, shaky video that your friend is holding the camera. That will not sit well with most coaches. You do not need to have a professional video made, but I would recommend, having at least a tripod set up, something where the video is going to be nice to watch. So you want to make this nice highlight video. Provide it to coaches, post it on YouTube, share it, get it out there, make yourself known. The next point is really important. Don't be shy. Simply get yourself out there. Start the communication with college coaches anytime. If you're not in high school yet, I would wait. If you're in your first year of high school, you still might want to wait. Anytime might be a stretch, but you get the point. Start reaching out to college coaches. It cannot hurt. They expect emails from potential athletes. So you're welcome to email the coach. Most universities have employee directories on their website. So at St. John's University, you can go to our employee directory, search athletics or sports, find all the coaches' email addresses and contact information. So you take the initiative. Use your connections. If you know somebody who played sports in the United States, even if it was at a different university, reach out to them. See if they might be able to have their coach put in a good word for you. I mean, see if your local coaches might know anybody who's working at the university level in the United States. It doesn't hurt to have somebody recommend you. It's absolutely not needed, but like with jobs, like with anything else, having a connection usually helps. attend. So there are summer camps and things called showcases. So these are athletic summer camps and showcases where coaches will come to watch you play. Most of these have been postponed or put on hold, unfortunately, due to COVID, and most coaches are not traveling like they used to. But let's hope in the near future these will come back. Finally, I'll mention that there are private recruiting services that you can look into. So you can hire a private recruiter to assist you with the process. So with that, I'm going to transition just to tell you a little bit more about St. John's University specifically and our sports opportunities. So we are St. John's University. We are based in Queens, New York, which is part of New York City. But you get the best of both worlds in terms of location. The beautiful, huge 100+ acre green campus in one of the biggest, best cities in the world. We are located in a more residential, quiet part of New York City, and that is how we're able to offer this beautiful, huge campus in New York City. So just a very brief description. We are a private institution that was founded over 125 years ago. We have a total undergraduate enrollment of about 17,000 students, with another about 5,000 in graduate or master's programs. Of the 17,000 undergraduate students, over 1,000 are international students. Our campus is extremely diverse, partially because we're based in New York City. So even a lot of our American students might be first generation, parents coming from other countries. It's just a wonderful, diverse setting where you will certainly run into people from your home country. That is a guarantee. As I mentioned, the setting is urban, but the campus size is 102 acres. It is humongous, and I'll show you a quick picture and overview in a second. In the latest rankings, we were ranked number 170th of all national universities. So we are not an elite academic university, but we are highly ranked and well respected. There are, thousands of universities in the United States, so being 170th is quite a high ranking. We have 17 NCAA Division I sports teams. Take a look at our beautiful green campus from above. As I said, it's over 100 acres. It's full of sports fields. And some of these buildings are also dormitories, so you have the option to reside, to house on campus. So it's all really encompassed here in this beautiful space. Classrooms are there, administrative offices, and you can clearly see all the sports. I'd also mention that we have beautiful campuses in Rome, Italy, and Paris, France as well. And I want to tell you a little bit more about an opportunity to start your studies in Rome. Before I do that, though, I'm just going to show you one more picture of campus. This is just, one small snapshot of one section of the campus, just to give you a feel for what it would be like to be there. And again, just to pause and say, can you believe that that's in New York City? With these beautiful green spaces right in New York City. The building here is a dormitory. You could live there. You walk outside, play some basketball with your friends before taking the subway into Manhattan and going to see, our NCAA Division I basketball team playing at Madison Square Garden, which is the professional New York Knicks stadium that we share. So our basketball team is that good that we play at the Knicks stadium, the pro stadium in Manhattan in New York City. These are all of the teams that St. John's has, with the men's teams listed on the left and the other two columns being women's teams. We are most known for basketball, but we also have excellent soccer teams, fencing, tennis, and everything else you see here. Track, baseball, golf. There are many other sports also offered at, you know, the NCAA level at other universities. So these are, again, the sports that we offer. I mentioned Madison Square Garden. I thought this slide was coming next. So I just, you know, I can't say enough about, see the title here is We Are New York's Team. There's billboards around New York City that say, St. John's, we are New York's team. That's how big of a sports school we are. We're recognized as a team. And we play, as I said, at Madison Square Garden. So that's, you know, what you're seeing in 3 out of these 4 photos on the bottom, with the exception of the green field there. But this is the professional basketball stadium in New York City, where many of our home games are played. So that is all for my presentation today. I want to thank everybody for your time and for being here with me today. I will be happy to stay on and answer any questions you have. Our undergraduate application is free of charge. There is no fee to apply. So I encourage you all to take a look at our application on our website. You can go to stjohns.edu/apply. Start a free undergraduate application, then send me an email. You email me at Slon, SSLONS, @stjohns.edu. And you say, hey, Shawn, I saw your presentation the other day. I've also just started an application. Can you assist? And I'll be happy to assist. So I can help you to finish the application. You can send, you know, we can essentially finish it together, in the sense that you can submit some documents, send me an email and say, hey, what's missing from my application? I can let you know. You can email me. I can upload documents for you. So I'm really here to help and be a resource for you. So I encourage you all to apply and to send me an email. Thank you.
For a wonderful presentation. I had a list of my questions, but you covered everything. That's a great presentation, and thank you for sharing information about the university and wonderful opportunity to study at St. John's University. We have a question from the audience already, and I know that we, by default, we're talking about the bachelor's programs mostly, because the and your advices, they were for the high school students. And there is a question: is it possible to go to study for a master's degree if a student at the in NATLET and he or she wants they want to continue their education at master's level? And is it possible to get a scholarship, athletic scholarship on that level?
Okay, thank you for your question. So you can absolutely apply for a master's degree, and there will be scholarships available, but not at the not sports scholarships. So athletic scholarships are reserved for the undergraduate students.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Is it like overall practice for the whole, like all universities, or you're just saying about your university?
This is certainly the case at St. John's. I'm 99% sure that would be the case for all universities. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we have more questions coming, and that's great. Thank you very much for the questions. So the next question from Danila: I'll be only 16 when I finish school, and all other hockey players enter universities when they are at least 19. What should I do between school and university? What would you recommend?
I'm thinking. I mean, that is a good question. I don't want to mislead you. I really don't know what to tell you. I haven't worked with any students who are that young at the finish of high school.
Typically,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but typically in Ukraine, we can finish the school at 16. Well, okay. Danila. Probably you should contact Education USA, and we will figure out, and we will try to assist you with that question. And maybe Shawn will do the research.
I mean, what I was going to say is you're more than welcome to email me with the exact same question, and I will get back to you. I just not sure what to tell you at the moment.
Okay.
I see. I'm
yes.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. The next question is: can you extend the study starting in Rome? Yes. If you can tell more about this, like program when you start in Rome and then you continue in the United States, because I think it's probably was not clear that.
No, you're right. I mentioned it, but I did not expand on it. So thank you so much for asking about it. It's an opportunity. So you apply to St. John's to attend our Queens campus. And if you're admitted, you'll receive a communication asking you if you'd like to opt into a special program where you can start at our Rome, Italy campus. So if you're accepted into St. John's and you're interested in that program, it's something that you can do. There's no application for the Rome program. You just apply to New York. And then the program is just the first semester of your undergraduate studies in Rome, Italy, followed by the remainder of your undergraduate degree in New York. We actually had a student from Ukraine do this very program this current year. So he has just arrived in New York about a week or two ago to begin his studies there. So he completed his first semester at St. John's at our Rome campus, and I know he was really thrilled about the experience.
Okay, well, hopefully, maybe in the future we will make another webinar with the students from Ukraine who already completed their program for the first year at the bachelor's level at university, and they will share the experience. And
absolutely.
Okay, so thank you everybody for the questions. If I may continue with my question, I would like to develop a little bit more about the eligibility at NCAA. As you said, that the students, they need to register and then they need to be considered student athletes or athletes at some point by the league, and then what can serve as a proof of eligibility to be such a student who is eligible for scholarship, for the athletic scholarship?
Okay, yeah, no, that's a great question. If I'm understanding correctly, what happens is that the student will create an account with the Eligibility Center, and then the Eligibility Center details for the student exactly what they need to do to be considered eligible. So the students will find all that information when they're inside the Eligibility Center website and once they've created their account.
Do you know what it might be?
Well, the main things are that students cover the academic requirements and qualify for that final amateurism certificate. Now, I am not familiar with all of the ins and outs of amateurism, but on the website, there's very detailed information. There's frequently asked questions like, what if I'm getting paid by this semi-professional league and things like that. So you need to, on your own, go through that website to make sure that you're eligible. The
website of NCAA.
The NCAA Eligibility Center website.
Okay. There is another question from Ivan. Is there age limit for application? 22, is it okay to apply for a partially disabled athletes?
I do not believe there's any age limit, so I think that would be absolutely fine. So here's the thing. The interesting thing about working in admissions and talking about athletic scholarships is that it is mostly left to the discretion of the coaches. It's very different at every university. And recruitment managers, admission counselors like myself are not really allowed to get too involved in the process. So we can assist you with your application to the university. But then in terms of the athletic scholarship, you need to really handle that with this website, the NCAA Eligibility Center, and the coach directly. So you know, I'm here today to give you an overview and an introduction, but then when it gets into much more details, you're going to need to contact coaches specifically. That said, I can be an advocate for you all, and I can help find you more information. So I encourage you to email me after today's presentation, and I'll be happy to get answers to you. There is no age limit for NCAA sports, though I did just find that.
Great. And how do you recommend to look for the coaches? It's just, or for the university that offer athletic scholarships, what can be the great resource for that? The NCAA website, or like if I am like interested in athletic scholarship, how should I look for that university or that coach or
Sure.
Is there any
No, yeah, I mean, the NCAA website, the official ncaa.org website should be a really good resource for you all. I mean, beyond that, just simple Google searches of NCAA Division I and then the sport that you're interested in. You should find a nice list of universities that have that sport. I'd like to also just real quick go back to the question about masters, because I actually just found that, and I wasn't aware of this, I'm sorry, I think I was wrong. The NCAA does award up to 126 postgraduate scholarships annually. So there are athletic scholarships for master's programs. I apologize. I hope the student who asked that question before is still here with us.
Well, we will communicate. If we have more questions about that, we will definitely tell our students about that, which is great news for those who want to continue their education at the master's level, and they can count on the athletic scholarships as well. Probably not the full scholarship, but some partial part of it. It's a great opportunity to have additional funding for the studies. All right, so basically, I think I have all my questions answered. Anyway, we will have Shawn's contacts, and you have the university contacts. You feel free to send emails to the admission office at the St. John's University, or to Shawn directly, or to contact EducationUSA in Ukraine if you have more questions, and we can direct you or address your questions, or probably direct you to those who know about the who know the information you're looking for. I think that's it for now. Thank you, Shawn, again for finding time and joining us today. And we are looking forward to probably see you next time with Ukrainian students who have their own personal experience studying at your university or receiving athletic scholarships, and more Ukrainian students to come.
Thank you again. It's a real pleasure to be with you all today. And just finally, again, I encourage everybody to send me an email, whether it's about starting in Rome, sports, St. John's, New York City, anything that you want to find more information about. I will definitely get back to you, and I'd be happy to put you in touch with coaches at St. John's as well. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you, and have a nice evening, everyone. See you next Thursday.